Helljumpers, Chapter 5, Part 2. The woman accompanying the little filly spoke up.
The council has approved the request to perform surgery on Miss Scootaloo. Medical teams will be prepped in one of the new Alexandria medical facilities after Dr. Melton and you, Miss Twilight, have come up with a viable procedure.
The woman paused for a moment before continuing.
Your other request has also been approved under the condition that your performance in training has to be exemplary. Alpha 3, your unit will be sent to a training facility to prepare for the arrival of the ponies, as they will remain here in New Alexandria for the medical procedure. One of your unit soldiers will be allowed to remain with the ponies as they wait for the procedure, so you'll have to choose amongst yourselves who remains with the ponies.
After finishing her sentence, the woman turned around and left the unit to decide who was gonna stay behind with the equestrians. So, who's gonna stay with our new squad mates? Tyler asked after the door closed behind the woman.
Whoa, squad mates? We're not soldiers yet, Tyler.
Twilight responded, surprised at his comment. At which Mac responded, I don't know how much they told you about your performance on the Dawn, but it was hella impressive. I don't think you two should worry too much about not getting admitted into the ODSTs, so to us, you're already squad mates.
Thanks, all of you, but we probably should figure out which one of you stays with us. I'll stay with you two if you want, Twilight,
Lucy said before adding with a grin.
Plus, you can play video games with me.
After finishing their conversation, the two groups split up either in a separate Pelican, and the rest of the team headed towards a training facility, and Twilight, Scootaloo, and Lucy were being flown over to New Alexandria Medical Center. Somewhere along the ride, Lucy had introduced Scootaloo to the games on her tablet, and they could apparently play things together. Twilight had also been given a tablet, but hers had Dr. Catalina's proposed medical procedure on it. Having read through it for the third time, she found that the doctor had been extremely thorough. Everything had been accounted for, from what type of drugs could be used to adapt surgical procedures for Scootaloo's equine build. After a short flight, the Pelican landed onto the roof of the facility where they were greeted by a new squad of Marines, and Dr. Catalina herself.
Hello, Twilight!
She happily shouted over the roar of the Pelican's engines.
Did you get my notes? Sure did. You've been very thorough.
Twilight replied as they walked into the building away from the roaring Pelican, with Scootaloo and Lucy hot on her tail.
So, do we know when we can perform the surgery? Depends on when Scootaloo last ate. We need her to have at least 6 hours without food, and 2 without liquid to safely operate, Catalina explained. Remember when you last ate something, Scootaloo? About 1.5 hours ago,
she replied.
So, you can operate in about 4.5 hours? More like 5 hours, just to be sure. And that will also give me and the other doctors some time to prepare,
Catalina replied.
Just take some time to relax. I'm gonna see the team of doctors and brief them, so I'll be back in half an hour before the surgery,
she added before leaving the group to visit the surgery team.
So, Scoots, you nervous?
Lucy asked the filly that had taken a seat to one of the couches in the room.
What? No, of course not. They're gonna fix my wings. What in Equestria should I be worried about?
She practically squeaked, not nervous for the operation at all.
Just remember that it'll take some time before your Matigan wings develop enough to actually fly,
Twilight said after picking up a book and using her hooves to flip the pages.
Wait, how are you doing that? I've seen you pick up stuff in ways that shouldn't be possible, but flipping pages with hooves, that's flat out impossible.
Lucy shouted while trying to figure out how Twilight was flipping the pages of the book. Twilight chuckled a bit before explaining how she could flip the pages.
Ponies have small telekinetic fields in their hooves to allow them to easily pick up items or manipulate objects like the pages of a book or pulling the trigger of a gun.
The image of a dead elite flashing in Twilight's mind appeared.
Oh, well, I guess that makes sense in this situation. Anyway, I should probably warn you that Tyler has been thinking up silly catchphrases and unit nicknames, so don't be weirded out if he suddenly shouts, "The cavalry has arrived," when we reach the training fields. So, should we think up of our own nickname then?
Scootaloo asked, but immediately got an idea.
Oh, wait, how about we call ourselves the Shadow Bolts?
Letting out a small laugh, Twilight replied.
That would be funny if the others agree with it. Well, first, what are the Shadow Bolts, and second, why would that be funny?
Lucy having no idea what the two ponies were referencing.
Oh, the Shadow Bolts were the special forces Luna used in the Lunar Rebellion, and they were the most effective unit Equestria has ever seen. If you became a target of one of their ops, you could be sure that you were done for. Their motto used to be Tement Acti Tabernas, or Fear the Darkness, as they mainly operated at night, and were masters of stealth.
Twilight then took a deep breath.
As for why it's funny to me, the Shadow Bolts were a unit that fought against my teacher, so me being involved in a unit that bears the same name as them is something I find amusing. Wow, that actually sounds pretty awesome. We should propose that to the rest of the team, they'd probably be on board with it.
Lucy replied with a smile.
Fear the Darkness. Definitely beats the Cavalry is here. Anyway, Scoots, do you want to play a rematch to kill some more time before the operation? Oh, you're going down.
Scootaloo replied as she hopped onto the couch and the two started playing some games together. Twilight, on the other hoof, had found a physics book and was reading up on everything she could in an attempt to gain the knowledge required to find their way back to Equus. The next 4.5 hours passed relatively quickly, as Scoots and Lucy were playing games and Twilight was studying. 20 minutes before the 5-hour mark, and the doctors came in walking back into the room.
Are you ready, Scootaloo? The other doctors want to meet you first before the operation, so we're gonna get you prepped a bit sooner than planned. Oh, sure. I guess this is it then. Well, see you on the other side after they fix my wings,
she said to Twilight and Lucy as she walked over to Catalina.
So, how long will the procedure take, Cat?
Lucy asked the doctor, who was on the verge of leaving with Scootaloo.
About 2 hours if everything goes smoothly, but don't be surprised if it takes longer.
Cat answered Twilight's question as best as she could.
Well, alright. See you when you wake, Scoots. Good luck.
At that, the doctor and the filly walked out of the room towards surgery, leaving Lucy and Twilight alone again. The following 2 hours seemed to drag on forever, as Twilight was nervous about how Scootaloo was doing. She and Lucy had some conversations about Pony Society and their friends, and at the 2.5 mark, Catalina came walking back into the room with a smile on her face.
Okay, so the operation? It was a success. Scootaloo should be waking up in about half an hour, so if you two follow me, then I'll take you to the room that she's currently in.
The group of three walked over to the room that Scoots was sleeping in.
Oh, she looks so cute when she's sleeping like that,
Lucy squealed.
Don't tell her that you said that,
Twilight replied with a chuckle.
She'd be so embarrassed.
Lucy chuckled at Twilight's remark.
What? It's true. I can still say that now because she'll be a lot less cute after she's been through training.
Twilight looked over at the filly lying in bed.
One of the many things I'm afraid of, Lucy.
Silently hoping that both of them would be ready for the trails ahead.